Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the spookiest month of the year and I have some amazing spooky books that I'm gonna bring to you, so stay tuned. I am going to start off with this amazing set of books, and this is the Goosebumps series. Now, I didn't want to specifically call out books that were new or that just got released. I wanted to also put in books that were classically creepy. So things that you could read every year during the most creepiest month, and Goosebumps had to make it in. So I'm going to start off with this great series. So this is supposed to be a middle grade horror series. There are I think more than 40 books in the Goosebumps series. I have 3 here that I just wanted to share. This is Creep from the Deep. This is Revenge of the Living Dummy, and this is A Shocker on Shock Street. So all of these are middle grade books, but I somehow kind of feel like they are more creepier than a lot of the adult creepy books that I've read. And so I will always keep recommending this. I always keep adding more and more Goosebumps to my collection because they're really small, easy to get through, and they keep you totally freaked out for a while. I have about 10 books now, and I'm just building up my collection. Maybe at some point I could do a separate video to show you all of the Goosebumps book I have. But I mean, look at this cover. Just look at it. Isn't it so, I don't know, creepy? And it's a fair, and we have a living dummy, and I swear, this is so terrifying. So this is the Horrorland series, and I've also got, I'm not sure if this is from a specific set of series, because there are separate Goosebumps books and then something that is just part of a collection. So some of them are, some of them aren't. Now, if you've not read Goosebumps before, every book is different, so you don't necessarily need to follow a certain way to read the books. You could read any book in between, and they're all separate stories. And each of them starts off with some element with some high schoolers, most probably, and then there is some terrifying things, horrific incidents, everything whatsoever from a horror book. And towards the end of the book, that story gets over. So the reason why I think these books are amazing, because you can never predict the ending. Now, ideally, you would think that a certain book ends a certain way, especially when it comes to horror. But these Goosebumps series are not like that. They're gonna end in the horrific way possible, and that's why I love it during October season, and that's why I will keep recommending Goosebumps every time I make a horror video, possibly with different books in the video every time. So yeah, if you can get your hands on a Goosebump book, I will definitely recommend this during October. Next book I've got is Hocus Pocus, the all new sequel. And you guys, this has to be in your October reading month, because I don't know, again, this is a classic. Well, at least Hocus Pocus is a classic, but this is the all new sequel. And it's good. I mean, as long as it follows these 3 sisters, we're good. We love the story. Now, this particular book has both the stories. The original story, I think, is halfway through the book, and the second half of the book is a new story that they have written for this particular edition. And I love that. So it takes place 25 years later from the original story. And Hocus Pocus is an all-time classic. We follow the 3 Sanderson sisters, and they are witches in Salem in some 1600s or 1800s, I'm not sure. But then they are killed in public, like they generally do to witches at that time in Salem. But a bunch of high school kids stumble upon the Sandersons' house, and they evoke the witches back with the help of a book, and then all hell breaks loose, typically. So this is a Disney story, so I love Hocus Pocus. It's a great book to read because it takes place during Halloween, and you have all the Halloween elements as part of this book. So yeah, and a whole new story as part of this edition is also brilliant. So if you can get your hands on this, I would highly recommend it. I would also recommend the first Hocus Pocus book if you haven't read it, or you can also watch the movies. The next one that I want to recommend is the Chris Riddle series of Goth Girl. So these are again a bunch of books. I have a few of these. I just wanted to pick this up to show you. This is The Ghost of a Mouse. And it has like these beautiful illustrations, and so I love that about the series. It's also middle grade targeted, but I would still recommend reading it because I feel like sometimes you don't need hardcore horror. Sometimes you just need like a decent horror that can, keep you on your toes and still give you that terrific element or the feeling of fear. And plus, I love this series because they always come with like sprayed edges and it's like completely creepy. We follow Ada Goth, who is this girl, who is Goth Girl, and she lives in Ghastly Gorm Hall with her father, Lord Goth, lots of servants, and at least half a dozen ghosts. But she hasn't got any friends to explore her enormous creepy house with. Then one night everything changes when Ada meets a ghostly mouse called Ishmael. So basically in this particular book we follow her and her friendship with the mouse, but then there are like other books in the series as well following Ada Goth. So yeah, I definitely recommend this series as well. I then got my all-time favorite, and I've recommended this so many times in my channel. I think even I am getting tired of my own recommendation about this book, and that is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I love the book, you guys. I love it. I do. I'm gonna put it out there. It's a great October read. It's great to read near Halloween. It's super spooky, very, very cliched, like I've already mentioned before, like a gazillion times, because this takes place in a haunted mansion, and we have our main female protagonist who comes over there to renovate it because that house belonged to like her father's father or like some generations ago, and she comes in and realizes that all is not as it seems. And we also have two points of view here, one as to what happened during that time, and that kind of like coincides with what happens currently when she goes back to the place to renovate it. So very, very cliched elements, all those jump scares, all that typical haunted house, mysterious corridors and staircases and creaking windows and everything of that sort is there in this book. However, I always feel like Riley Sager is always able to give like a twist that you don't expect at all. There will be lots of twists in the book, but then every single time you think that twist is done, you get another twist, and that's why I kind of like his books. And this one in particular, don't go in with like expecting something new, because you're not going to get anything new, but you would still come out of this book feeling fearful and scared and horrified. So that is why I keep recommending this book. One of his I think really good writings, and that's Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. And then I would like to recommend The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. And do you want to know what's peeping through that keyhole? Is that. So this is again an amazing book. This takes place sometime in like the early 1800s, and it takes place in a country estate. I kind of felt like The Sound of Music. Well, not necessarily Sound of Music, but then sort of like that, wherein you have a caretaker who goes to like this country estate to take care of the kids, and then realizes that there is a ghost or something creepy happening in that house, and she starts like to hear sounds, and she starts to hear noises, and she wants to investigate what's going on, and then finds out there is something that's hidden in this house that nobody is aware of. So this kind of gives you that feeling, and that is why I like this book. It's very gothic because it takes place in the Victorian era, and it's very, very slow. I will tell you that it's not that fast paced. It's a little slow paced, but it will keep you going, and you would want to finish the book. So that way, I think this book is very, very intriguing, and I love the vocabulary and the word building in this book as well. So yeah, that's another book that I would love to recommend. Next book I wanted to recommend is a bunch of books by John Saul. So John Saul, I don't know, for some reason doesn't get the recognition he deserves. Everybody reads Stephen King during Halloween, and I don't want to recommend Stephen King. There are a lot of Stephen King books that are good, no offense to that, but I still feel like John Saul has some amazing creepy books that nobody actually talks about as much. So I want to recommend his books because I love his books, especially these. They are just brilliant. A lot of them are so creepy, and they also have this small town in the middle of the United States where everyone is happy, but there is something creepy going on. The government is involved, and you see these strange creatures about, and kind of gives you like Stranger Things vibes. And these books were written like long before Stranger Things, so I kind of feel like these books are brilliant, but they don't like necessarily appeal to a lot of people because they haven't heard of John Saul as much, and that's why I want to specifically give recommendation to John Saul books. I probably do another maybe video just talking about some of his books that I personally loved, but I think this one is a great book. It's got like amazing storylines, great plot lines, amazing characters, and so brilliant. The next book I wanted to recommend is My Best Friend's Exorcism. I thought this book was perfect because it's, first of all, it's a new book. Second of all, it takes place in the 80s, and so it has 70s to 80s, so it has all of these or 90s, and it has all of these really nostalgic vibes. So you have arcades, you have these malls that are just becoming big, you have these kids who cycle to the mall. I mean, it's just really cool. I kind of feel like anything that gives you a little bit of a Stranger Things vibe, which takes place at that time, is like a trendsetter, and this book actually kind of follows in that footsteps. It's got amazing storylines, and it's about these two best friends who, one of them kind of gets possessed by a ghost, and the other one finds that out, and then the story revolves around what happens to these friends after that. And the ambience of the book, the storyline, where it's like set, everything is just so cool, and it's also really creepy. So I would highly recommend this book as well. And the last book I wanted to recommend is Scooby-Doo, A Haunted Halloween. And I specifically wanted to recommend this because it takes place exactly during Halloween, and I love myself a good Scooby-Doo during the Halloween season because, well, technically all of them are about something haunted, and then the gang tries to sort out who it is and investigate. So this one is specifically called A Haunted Halloween, and it takes place in the middle of Halloween. And so, as usual, the gang goes to find out about a mystery that's taken place in a manor, and then they come across everything creepy and evil and just brilliant. I think these are like some quick reads as well, so you don't have to invest as much time and effort into it, but at the same time you come out feeling really satisfied and happy because you kind of like read something creepy for the horror season. So there you go. Those are all my recommendations this year for October. If you love this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in another video. Bye.